Sanibona, ngaphambi singene kwivideo namuhla, ngithi angithathe lethuba ngibonge i-support nothando nesikhombise lona lingaphezu kokucabanga kwethu. Siyacela niqhubeke nisiphote njalo ngokubuka amavideo ethu, ungakhohlwa ukukhomenta, ushare, ulike. Siyafisa ukuzwa umbono wakho. Sicela ke singene kwivideo namuhla. Kulamaviki aphelile, uPresident Cyril Ramaphosa kwi-State of the Nation Address usazise ngey'nhlelo abanazo odabeni lwe-Eskom. Waze washo ukuthi bazoletha ne-private partnership ukuze bekwazi ukusombulula iy'nkinga ezikhona nokuzixazulula iy'nkinga ey'khona laphayana odabeni oluthinta i-Eskom. Wayesechaza futhi ukuthi njengoba sibona i-load shedding engathi ayikho, yingoba ukubambisana uhulumeni kanye ne-private partnership. Siyazi ukuthi kune-Operation Vulindlela ekhona la, kodwa nje angifisi ukugxila kakhulu kulezo zinto lezo. Angifuni futhi ukukhuluma ngodaba le-load shedding ngoba sesake salichaza ngaphambilini. Sachaza ukuthi ukuze kugcine kufika la kuthiwa khona i-load shedding ayikho kwenzakalani, obani laba abafaka imali, inhloso yabo sakhuluma nje ngalezo zinto, angeke siziphinde manje. Kodwa okubuhlungu nazo zonke lento ey'khulunywayo, uyadura ugesi. Kubantu abathenga ugesi bayazi ukuthi uma uthenga ugesi we-R50 uthola about 15 units we-R50 ngendlela ugesi odura ngayo. So and siyazi ukuthi ukuba khona kwama-private companies, they are profit driven. Yingakho sibone ngathi izinto ziyadura. So lezi nhlelo abasho uPresident ziyangikhathaza mina ngoba zisho ukuthi ugesi uzodura kakhulu njengoba udura kumanje. And hayi ukuthi le nkinga ye-load shedding ngixazulekile yonke indawo ngoba kwamanye amalokishi khona lento ekuthiwa i-load reduction, ukuthi ugesi uhambe ngo-5 ntambama uzubuye ngo-10, uma uhambe ekuseni uhambe ngo-5 uzubuye ngo-9. Into lezi ezikhona ukuthi kune-load reduction. Kodwa ke usisi uPrince Mthombeni uMaduma uzosichazela ukuthi lento le abayisho uPresident ngabe isho ukuthini, ngabe i-Eskom iya-privatizwa na? Ngicela uzwe la.
What changes are currently happening at Eskom? Why is its transmission system being separated? And what will it mean for South Africa's electricity sector? Let's talk about it. Hi guys, igama lami nguPrince Mthombeni uMaduma, co-founder of South Africans for Constitutional Reform. Now, I'd like us to weigh in on the Eskom debate. Private sector participation in electricity generation was first introduced in the 1998 Energy White Paper. After policy consultation and legislative processes, this became law in 2004 through the Electricity Regulation Act, ERA. The ERA established government as the supplier of last resort, replacing earlier provisions in which Eskom fulfilled that role. In 2011, South Africa adopted the Integrated Resource Plan, IRP, but the ERA remained in effect, including provisions giving minister authority to determine who should build new generation capacity. At the time, policy discussions also included the proposed Independent System and Market Operator, ISMO model. But the ISMO proposal was not implemented, and stakeholders held differing views about its potential impact on electricity supply and system reliability. In the years that followed, ongoing debate continued on whether electricity sector should remain vertically integrated under Eskom or be structurally separated into different entities. By 2017 to 2018, changes in Eskom leadership coincided with renewed implementation of the ERA framework and further restructuring considerations. In 2024, the ERA was amended into the Electricity Regulation Amendment Act, ERAA. Among other provisions, the ERAA requires a separation between electricity generation and transmission system operation. This supports the creation of the National Transmission Company of South Africa, NTCSA, as an independent transmission operator, providing grid access to multiple generators, including renewable energy independent power producers. While according to government, they followed legislative procedures in adopting the amendment. However, stakeholders have expressed differing perspectives. Some consider the reform necessary to modernize electricity market, attract investors, and improve supply security. But others are concerned about its long-term implications for Eskom's role and the structure of the electricity sector. Some analysts view the reform as market liberalization, while others view them as restructuring within state ownership, as the transmission company is intended to remain state-owned. Some energy stakeholders have suggested possible interventions regarding the implementation of these reforms. I'm sharing them here and asking for your guidance on how they could be approached. Number one, a public petition to gauge whether South Africans support or oppose the changes. Number two, a review of Section 15, subsection 2 and paragraph C of the ERAA, taking into account technical and policy inputs from power system specialists. Number three, requesting a legal opinion from an appropriate body regarding governance and decision-making processes related to the reforms. Guys, if major policy decisions rely on democratic participation, then public input may help shape how these reforms are implemented. These are the proposals some stakeholders have raised. So Wena, tell me, what do you think would be the most constructive way for us, the public, to respond?
Chazile kusisi la uPrince Mthombeni babalekile abantu abanjengaye ngoba ibona basenzele ukuthi zibe lula lezi zinto ngoba njengoba upresident obekhuluma yena ukhulume nje wedlula kodwa thina abantu nje njengoba singamalungu omphakathi asazi kahle ukuthi uthini upresident simzwile nje khuluma kodwa sisilo uchaza kabanzi ukuthi kahle lento ayisho upresident isho ukuthini. Hayi ibalekile lento ukuze sizoyi-understand ikakhulukazi i-national treasure mathwa nje ubani ongakwazi ukuchaza ukuthi ubethini uminister inogodongwane ziningabi into ayishilo ukhuluma ngamabhiliyoni nama-trillion kodwa ukuthi nje kahle ukhuluma ngani lo uminister la kufuneka kuthola umuntu olwaziyo lolu limi alikhulumayo akwazi ukuchaza kangcono. Ngokucaphuna enye ivideo yakhe yesibili uPrince Mthombeni ngicela uzwe la.
Today we are discussing the capacity factor. One of the factors that has a bearing on the cost of an electricity generator is the capacity factor, which compares an amount of electricity a power plant will produce in a period to the amount it could actually produce in the same period when running at full potential. Now let's look at the capacity factors of two of my favorite power plants, Koeberg Nuclear Power Plant and Redstone Concentrated Solar Power Plant. Koeberg Nuclear Power Plant has a total capacity of 1,854 megawatts. That's after the most recent upgrade. In the beginning, Koeberg was run with a capacity factor of around 60%. Currently, Koeberg is running at a capacity factor of about 80%. However, since Koeberg experienced low energy output in the early years, its lifetime capacity factor of 72% is more accurate to use for the purpose of this video. So, with this lifetime capacity factor of 72%, Koeberg produces almost 11,700,000 megawatt hour in a typical year. Redstone Concentrated Solar Power Project has a nameplate capacity of 100 megawatt and a projected annual output of 480,000 megawatt hour, giving it a capacity factor of 54.8%. Remember, the cost of this project is $789 million US. This means that one would need 24 redstones in order to produce the same amount of electricity annually as produced from Koeberg. Now, when one takes capacity factors into account, assumes 72% of Koeberg for the 9,600 megawatt of nuclear build program and 54.8% of Redstone Concentrated Solar Power Project, we discover that we actually need a whole 126 of these redstones at a cost of 1.5 trillion rand in order to match the same production from the 9,600 megawatt of the unaffordable nuclear deal. Keep in mind that these redstones would have to operate half the time since they rely on the sun, which does not shine all the time. And that means, in actual fact, they will have to be twice as much in order to be as productive as the so-called unaffordable nuclear deal. Anybody claiming that South Africa can afford redstones is conceding that South Africa can actually afford nuclear.
Ukusho ukuthi lilonke former president Jacob Zuma ngesikhathi ayethi South Africa funeka ikhande i-nuclear power station. Zonke lezi ndaba bezikhuluma concerning ama-cost azilona iqiniso ngoba Mawubheka manje i-capacity njengendlela achaza ngayo uPrince Mthombeni, imali eseyispendiwe isiningi kakhulu, futhi imali esispendiwe ngabe i-power plant ye-nuclear seyakhiwe. Ukube nje kuthiwa kwenzeka lento ayishiwo former president uJacob Zuma mayelana nodaba lwe-nuclear. Ibibaluleke kakhulu ke lento echazwa la ukuze siziqonde lezi zinto, ngoba uma singaziqondi sizogcina siyingxenye yepolitiki kanti abantu balwela iy'nhloso zabo, abalweli khona ukuthi kuthuthuke izwe lethu leli lase-South Africa. Iyona nkinga engiyishoyo le. Yingakho ngithe angimcaphuna aqala sichazele ukuthi le private partnership upresident obekakhuluma ngayo ubekhuluma ngani, njengoba manje sesizwe ukuthi asize kuma-cost. Njengoba kuthiwa i-Operation Vulindlela ibe yi-success, kubalwa yonke into njengoba ugesi ugenerate ilanga, i-solar energy. Ugesi ongakanani lo oproduce-wayo ma ukhompera between i-power plant ye-nuclear kanye ne-solar, zenza amalokuzana ama-cost wakhona, ama-cost wakhona athini, ikona kuphi okungcono. Kodwa kuyavela manje ukuthi i-nuclear iyona engcono, okusho ukuthi kube ngalesa sikhathi former president uJacob Zuma ayithi akwakhiwe i-nuclear power plant, be-South Africa ayikho kule nkinga kuyo manje. Ngiyazi ukuthi kwabanye akuyona inkinga ngoba ugesi abawuthengi, kodwa kwabawuthenga bayazi ukuthi ugesi uyabiza. Asiyibambe le video, bengifisa nje ukuthi lezi zinto zichazwe. Mina nawe sidibane kwivideo elandelayo, ngiyabonga.